This is an uncensored podcast about sex, sexuality, gender, and body stuff. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the person or persons sharing them. Some names have been changed to protect the anonymity of its participants. Hello, my friends. It's me, Drew Michael, and it's about 6 minutes till Thanksgiving, which I don't know why I would count down to Thanksgiving, a holiday that I don't care about. The other day I was just real, Debbie Downer about Thanksgiving in front of all of my new coworkers, and my one coworker was like, "Oh yeah, I hate Thanksgiving too." And then and then another coworker was like, "Are you guys against giving thanks? Are you guys not into gratitude? What is it?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm not into that." I was like, I'm not about to talk about the bloody history of our country right now at work. So yeah, I'm just not into gratitude. That's what I went with. Also, I think she was just making fun of us for being so ugh. But I mean, what's not to hate about Thanksgiving? It's forced thankfulness, right? You could say it's a day for us all to remember to be thankful or to give thanks to the people we love and care about and blah, blah, blah. But it's one day a year. Come on. We could do that anytime, and we should. We should do it all the time. I prefer to celebrate Indigenous people's history on the day of Thanksgiving, and we could further that to celebrate the history and the culture of Black and brown people all throughout the Americas, not just North, but also Central and South, and then Canada or whatever. Let's celebrate the cultures that we erased. Let's do that. Let's give thanks to the fact that though we tried everything we could to erase all of their cultures, some of them still exist, and their cultures do too, in a way. And thank God for that. I'm very grateful that God didn't allow us to completely erase other people and their cultures. I'm grateful for that. And also, I really don't love pumpkin pie. I hate turkey in its form where it still looks like a bird. I don't need gravy. I'm nauseated by the idea of potatoes, mashed potatoes. I just come from a family where everything is just kind of flavorless. It's loaded with fat and probably sodium, but it somehow tastes like nothing because my ancestors only cook with salt and pepper. Pepper if they're feeling spicy, right? It's oh my God, there's so many other spices and herbs. I mean, a little herbes de Provence would be an improvement to any dish, especially the turkey. I don't understand dressing. I don't know why you would stuff it inside a raw bird and then bake it. I don't understand why you put anything inside of a bird. other than a thermometer, I guess. Yeah, I guess I've never tried deep fried turkey, but I mean, someone I know is smoking a turkey. I feel like that would be good. But like one of my favorite Thanksgivings, I'll share with you. It was with Priscilla, and we went to North Carolina, and we cooked a duck, and we ate duck that we thawed in the trunk of my car, or maybe her car. I don't remember. And we weren't supposed to do that. You're supposed to thaw it in the fridge. But anyway, I digress. On the second night, we reheated the duck and we cooked Brussels sprouts in the fat of the duck. And it was so good. But then I literally couldn't handle my life and I had to lay down because I was like drunk on duck fat. But it was really fun. And we drank a lot of vodka and cranberry juice. And we watched My Feet Are Killing Me and Dr. Pimple Popper. That was the best Thanksgiving ever. Oh, there was another lovely Thanksgiving I shared with a special man friend, but I think I talked about that before. And I'm starting to forget the details, which I think is a gift when we start to forget things that cause us emotional sorrow and nostalgia. This is Make Sex With Me, a podcast where we're starting to forget. We're starting to forget. Okay, literally, I just left work today without my computer or my lunch bag. And I know that's like, okay, you're telling us this why? Because on the way out, I was like saying goodbye to my staff because I have a staff now. Shut up. It's me. I'm still the same person. And I was like, goodbye, you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving. Ugh. And then I was like thinking to myself, I feel so light and free. Like, do I have everything I need? And I was like, yeah, I totally do. I was like, but I just feel so like light. Like all I have is this little bag and this like set of keys and like a phone. I was like, oh, this is just so lovely. Just so light and lovely. And then I got back to my hotel room because I live in a hotel room now. I'm not sure if you guys know that. I feel like I've talked about it. It's temporary. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, I don't have my laptop. So I guess I'm not doing any work for Thanksgiving. I don't really have any work to do, but then again, I always have like a lot of work to do still. It's like I do and I don't have a lot of work to do. A diva's work is never done. And anyway, I guess the point is that my mom says I already have Alzheimer's and I'm only 38. So that's great. Thanks, Mom, for making me a hypochondriac. And I'm grateful that I'm gay because of the things inside of your uterus that attacked my fetus. Probably left over from the 3 brothers that came before me. 2 of whom I will see tomorrow. Waka waka. All right, so you guys, this is a very special episode. We actually have a guest, and I interviewed her months ago. And I'm so glad that we can release this interview to all of my lovely listeners on this day of gratitude. I think it's awesome that our guest today is a strong, beautiful, amazing, talented, intelligent woman of color. She is... Let me read about her to you. She is the founder and CEO of Luminesque Skincare and creator of CO2 Lift and CO2 Lift V. Her name is Lana Kerr. She is recognized as a leader in non-invasive carboxytherapy treatments. We're going to learn all about that. Lana is a fierce advocate for women's health issues, particularly those that arise with aging and menopause. And I cannot wait to share the products that she is introducing on this podcast with you. They're phenomenal. I am going to try them. I wish that I already did. I forgot that we even talked about me trying them because I'm a self-proclaimed messy bitch. You'll hear me say that in the podcast. And yeah, I've been feeling like I look a little old lately. Every day I just feel a little bit older. I can't really tell you why or what it is, but I just feel like I don't have bags under my eyes, but it's like it's like just purple, dark purple under my eyes. I think my eyes are trying to abort my body. They're like, this ship is going down. We are out of here. And so there's this purple, saggy, like, I don't know. What am I saying? It's too late for this. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy this interview with the amazing Lana Kerr. Bye-bye. Hi, Lana. How are you?
Drew, I am doing great. It's good to be here with you today.
Oh my gosh, I know. We are so happy to have you on the podcast. We had a little bit of trouble like trying to organize it, but I'm so glad we figured it out. It's all my bad. I'm just a messy person. A messy bitch
You
over
didn't have to
here.
say that. Listen, life is messy.
So we're happy to have you on. And I'm especially excited because I've had a lot of professionals on our podcast that talk a lot about male sexual health and stuff like that. And even though I'm a person with a penis, I don't exactly care so much about that. I know that most of my listeners are, LGBTQIA plus people. There's a lot of women that listen to the podcast. There's a lot of different gendered people that don't really necessarily care about, like, I don't know, a patriarchal system with, like, Viagra and penis pumps. And I mean, those things are important too. But anyway, I'm excited to have a professional on to talk about female health and reproductive health and sexual health, all of that. So tell us a little bit about what you do, what your background is.
So, my educational background is in accounting and finance. Went
Okay.
back to school, studied nutrition, and have open weight loss clinics. Had them for over 20 years. And that led me to the discovery of carboxy because once we had centers, when people started losing weight, they started paying attention more to their skin. So we decided to open a spa and just on looking for products that were unique, just different. That's what I like to kind of focus on. Came upon what carboxytherapy is, and and that's kind of what led me into this field of skin regeneration because carboxytherapy is the fastest way to regenerate your skin.
What exactly is carboxytherapy?
So carboxytherapy is a therapeutic use of carbon dioxide to rebuild the tissue. And it has a very old heritage. It dates back to the 1100s when the samurai warriors would bathe in carbonic hot springs to
Ooh.
regenerate their skin after battle. So that's the springs. And you have springs in France as well. Then fast forward into the 1800s, the French actually looked at a needle. So they have a tank of CO2 gas that they now would put it into your skin that way. The Japanese developed in 2010 the gel delivery system, and we have the exclusive rights to that technology. So that's carboxytherapy, and it can be applied anywhere on the body, especially now that it's a gel. There's really no limitations, there's no pain
Mm.
to applying it anywhere on the body.
And so it's going to rejuvenate your skin. It's going to prevent the symptoms of aging in your skin. Is it lifting? Is it going to lift my double chin? Can I put it here?
Well, yeah, we call it lift because it does, lifting is, you have a facelift. That's not what you're getting with CO2 lift, where they actually pull back muscles. But it does, I always think of an analogy that resonates with people, and it's that grape raisin analogy. What's the difference between a grape and a raisin? It's the water content. A
Mm.
raisin is just a dehydrated grape. And that's pretty much, we're born this grape and we turn into this raisin. So if you think of CO2 lift, one of the main things it does too, or a major thing it does, is increase the hydration in the skin. So in that way, it's lifting the skin. So it's increasing over 117%. Drew, there's nothing on the market that does it. So if you think about if we born this grape, we turn into this raisin, and we can delay that process through the technology that's available. And this is a technology that will help to keep you as grape-like as possible with smooth, lifted, bouncy skin. Or
Mm.
even if we start turning into a raisin, we can, reverse that.
Yeah. I need to get some of this for my mother. All she ever talks about is aging. She's 75 and she looks amazing for 75.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad that apparently in our family we don't age terribly. And we
Mhm.
have like zero melanin. We're like the whitest people ever, but we just like
You're so hilarious.
I'm glad. Like I'm 38. I'm starting to think about injectables. I'm starting to think about a little Botox, a little lip filler. Um, I'm trying not to take away from my what I have. I'm just trying to add because I am afraid of the effects of taking stuff out and then not having it later. Um, Although I have plenty of fat to go around, but um, what are you do a lot of your patients or customers like are they people that are trying to avoid injectables and they're looking for a topical solution?
So that's a great. We have a lot of that. So our customers, we sell directly to dermatologists, plastic surgeons, and then we do have another version of the CO2 lift that's sold, through our website. We also have the CO2 lift V, which I know we're going to talk about. So people use, regardless of if you're using fillers, if you're getting a facelift, if you're using toxins, those things don't address skin quality, right? So we're talking about the quality of the skin. You can have fillers and your skin looks like leather, then you're defeating the purpose. Because one of the
Mm-hmm.
things, the markers of youthfulness is, wrinkles definitely is not a marker of youthfulness. So that's why people get, toxins or fillers to help to take that away. But still, the quality of the skin is a different thing. You want luminosity, you want hydration, you want that glow, that elasticity in the skin. Those are things that the CO2 lift is going to help. So for people who don't want toxins or fillers, this is a great solution because it's going to give them that lift
Yeah.
and that quality of skin. And for people who are interested, they still want to look, they still want, they especially want the quality of the skin to be improved. So it's
Yeah.
for really for anyone who wants healthy looking skin.
That's awesome. I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying. Like, there'll be mornings when I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, like, I've been sleeping all night. Like, nothing's wrinkled. Everything's gone back to one surface. But I just feel like kind of blah. Like my face is like, and I don't get a lot of sun because I'm instructed not to because I'm so pale.
Mhm.
But it just sometimes I feel like a zombie, and I feel like a big thing for me is like I'm always trying to exfoliate because I feel like I get a lot of dead skin cells, and that helps a little bit. Pore, enlarged pores are a thing I worry about. Um, I just want like a new face some days.
True, true. You are hilarious. No, but I understand. I mean, it's like, you know what? Okay, if I was to kind of compare it to something, I would say, and we talked about water already, but it's like a tall glass of water for your skin. So
Yeah.
it's like you'll see when you try it. It's really one of those things that it's a new category in skin regeneration. So just to give you the opposite end or the most exaggerated end, if you put this gel, because it's a gel, if you put it on a non-healing diabetic ulcer, it can close it in as little as 8 days. So anything that's regenerating your skin that's fast, that's the same thing with you want skin turnover, and that's what this is doing. So when you exfoliate, you need to bring back fresh skin.
Right.
You want to have that skin turnover quickly because once you get older, that circulation, that circulation slows down and skin turnover slows down. So this is a great way to regenerate it very quickly.
Yeah. And so obviously it's a topical cream for the face and anywhere on the body. But we're also talking about rejuvenating the vagina. So is
Yes.
it like talk more about that? How does it help rejuvenate the vulva and the vagina? Are those the
Okay.
same thing, by the way?
No, no, it's actually so the vulva is outside, right? That has the
Oh,
clitoris. That's like the pleasure center. So that has the clitoris. It has the labia majora, the labia minora. The vagina is inside.
oh,
So
okay.
you have that vaginal opening, and you go inside. So what happens? Well, so just to first, it's a gel. So when people think of a cream, they think of something blending it. This is a gel that peels off, right? So
Mm,
what are some of the things that how does aging affect the vulva, the vagina, or the genitals in general? Well, since we're specifically talking about women parts, so you have the vulva, which has the clitoris, is like a female penis. It's like it's but it's inside. It's
right,
the sole purpose of the clitoris is for pleasure. It has 8,000 nerve endings. That requires blood flow to operate optimally. And remember, we talked about the circulation starts slowing down from the age of in our mid 20s. So eventually, that you can get atrophied. It gets smaller. How do you prevent that? By increasing blood flow. And
yeah,
the CO2 lift, remember I told you that it can close a non-healing diabetic ulcer? What's the problem with diabetics? It's circulation on their extremities. Well, it increases it really quickly. So if you put it on the vulva, it's going to increase sensitivity. That's why women are getting greater orgasms. If you wouldn't have sex with a flaccid penis, because you wouldn't get the same enjoyment, many women are having sex with a flaccid clitoris. So that's one
mm,
area of aging.
yeah,
Second part is in the vagina. That tissue in the vagina is very thin, similar to the skin under our eyes, which shows age fast. So we want to thicken that tissue. So the CO2 Liv is very effective at thickening that epithelium within 2 weeks. So a protocol would be 10 treatments within 2 weeks, and then you maintain it with once a month. So it's not a lube. It basically reconditions vulvovaginal skin.
hmm. What is it applied like internally? Is it like just on top?
Inside and out. So inside, kind of like what you put on a tampon, and then on the
Yeah.
outside, and then you just
Oh.
put it on, insert it, and
Hmm.
then you go to bed. You put on a panty liner and go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, you just pee and it comes out.
So the facial product is CO2 lift, but the one for the vulva and the vagina is CO2 lift V.
Right. The difference with it is the pH is different for the vagina, as well as has a slightly different formulation that works for when you have inflammatory issues with that particular area. Because the one that you use, the CO2 lift, can be used on genitals, male genitalia. So you'd use it on erectile tissue there to help again with blood flow.
Hmm.
So what we've done a couple studies on it, pilot studies on the CO2 lift for male performance enhancement. And what we've seen is that it improves the SHIM score, which is a sexual health index for men, 5 to 12 points after only 5 treatments. So it's applied on the erectile tissue and then kept on for 45 minutes. And then you just wash it off or peel it off. And, obviously you're getting smoother skin, but you're also affecting functionality.
Oh, so it's like if I'm using the product for the face, it's like almost like a glass mask or something, like a clear mask.
Yes, it's like a peel
Ooh,
off gel. So it's a gel and it forms a
yeah.
mask on wherever you apply it. So if you check out the CO2 Lift Instagram handle, you'll see so many people how they just remove it. They can remove it, and you can use it on the face, you can use it on the neck, you can use it on the breast, you can use it really, as I said, anywhere on the body that you want to preserve youthfulness or help to reverse it, or if you have something that needs healing, you put it on. So that's and then of course for the female inside, the reason why we have the V is because really the pH.
Right. It's a sensitive pH region, right?
Yes.
I wonder if it would help too with people that have like I know people that have like chronic like yeast infections and just like situations where the pH is constantly out of balance with their vagina.
Mhm.
By the way, my knowledge of vaginas is like very limited, and I'm completely open about it. Um, I'm always open to hearing more. I think I know where the clitoris is. I think someone's told me that before, and I've seen diagrams.
Yes.
Um, but we know what it's interesting too is I've talked to other professionals about specifically the loss of male sexual everything, and I was so surprised to hear that it is so much about like the atrophy of such the organs, and like it's not so much like, I mean, obviously like people can have sexual disorders caused by, you know, what's going on in your brain, and you know, as
Mhm.
you get older you might have different hormonal changes, but hormonal changes don't just affect your mental health, they affect your physical body. I mean, your body is literally evolving into later stage body, and a lot of what I guess creates sexual disorders in older people is the breaking down of the physical body. So I find this very fascinating, and especially because it can be treated.
Yes, yes. And you said a good point. The brain is, a lot of our biggest sex organ is our brain.
Right.
So we have to, that's when you think about sexual dysfunction, I think it starts there. They definitely have to include that. Like, what is your view of sex? All of those things matter. But
Right.
then there's a physiological component that, we cannot, we're aging. All of us are aging, and aging doesn't just affect our skin, or doesn't just affect our hair, our hearing. It affects, just as you mentioned, it affects all parts of us, including our genitalia.
Yeah.
And so our genitals. And so for women, I think why we focus on it so much is because, I don't think women, it hasn't been talked about. And hormones affect us too. So hormones affect, but that's why there's a bad rap on hormones for whatever reason. We can talk another conversation on that. But the fact of the matter is, nothing is wrong with doing things or utilizing technology, in my opinion, to keep us functioning youthfully. Because there's not a problem with aging. You mentioned your mom. She's in her 70s. She looks great. She feels great. Once you look in the mirror and you identify youthfulness, you're going to probably function more youthfully. So
Right.
I think that sexual dysfunction is we have to treat it holistically, which is our whole body. And so we can't just address the mind without addressing our genitals. We can't do one without the other. But that's definitely one piece that we know technology can help with in terms of reversing atrophy or preserving it, blood flow, as well as the tissue.
Yeah. Well, and I think that in our society, there's been obviously so much more research done on male sexual health than female sexual health. I mean, so many times, like, they just weren't, they, like, medicine wasn't for women. It's like they just
Yeah.
forgot them for hundreds of years. But I think that because of that, there's this idea that men losing their sexual libido and everything is like a big deal, like a catastrophe, and that when women are losing it, it's just meant to be, and they're just not supposed to be sexual anymore after a certain age. And I think so many women are just resigned to being like, okay, I'll just focus on other things. But that obviously can't be good for one's like mental health either.
I love that you're saying all that you're saying is so true. And I think that that was one of the biggest challenges that we had as a company when we had a solution to this, because women were just not aware that there was a problem. Like, they just kind of just accepted it. And so if you're not aware that there is a problem, you're not looking for a solution. But it's true that if you are, sexual health and sexual fulfillment is a big part of quality of life, is a big part of maintaining relationship, not only with your partner but with yourself. So I think that when you X that part, a major part out, and you just discount it and you figure, okay, time for something else, you're doing yourself a disservice. So just as much as you're trying to preserve other areas of your life, your health, we want to preserve our sexual function. And even if you're not sexually active, we still need to preserve our sexuality. You know what I'm saying? So we want to do things that, again, as you said, pH changes to prevent, you know, urinary incontinence is one, but to prevent infections, we can keep our pH healthy. We can keep that tissue healthy so that you can feel good in that part of your body.
So most of your clientele, are they over a certain age, or are you finding like middle-aged women, younger women are more interested in their sexual health, and the obviously, I know I'm a millennial, and we started young. Like we were all, my niece is getting Botox and she's not even 30. Like
Mhm.
we're all like concerned about getting old and we're not even close to being old yet. But like, what is your major demographic for your products
So
other
true
than,
that you say that. I find that your generation is so much more educated in terms of what it requires to stay youthful. And the truth is, if um, you look at countries or races or ethnicities that preserve youthfulness, it's because they start young. I mean, you look at a lot of in Asian countries, they start from 15. I mean, I think I got my first toxin. I was in my mid 40s. I'm 50. Hold am I 53 now? So you know what I'm
oh my
saying. So I
God.
started. You just start later, but in terms of the CO2 lift V, I feel when I look at our numbers, and again, we work with a lot of physicians, so they sell a lot of the product. But even when we look at that, the people that are really more gravitating are your age, people in their 30s, 40s. Because this works for people who've had children as well. After
Mm.
children, or if you're breastfeeding, you want to, that causes vaginal dryness. So they're taking it. A lot of younger people are on medication, even for anxiety, depression, which affects vaginal dryness. So we find that a lot of the younger people my age and up, they're coming on slowly. It's really our, what we've been taught, or our perception of sexuality. It just, we just typically, generally speaking, we really don't discuss it. It wasn't discussed. So I think that definitely, as you mentioned, younger demographics gravitate more to what can I do to preserve youthfulness. Sexual function is important to me. What do I need to do? So yeah, I think it's definitely younger, but we are getting a lot of people, because now more people talk about menopause, and they're looking at how can we reverse the symptoms of menopause, which one
Oh
of them
yeah.
is vaginal dryness.
Yeah. My mother, I don't want to say my mother's still menopausal. I mean, she's super, super past it probably. Um, but she never like announced like, oh, it's over. So in my mind, I'm still like, oh, my mom's menopausal. But because she still has like terrible hot flashes. Like,
I have to say, Drew, you should be a comedian. How you speak, I just want to smile. Um, but yeah, she's in her 70s and is having hot flashes.
I think she still has them. Like, we'll be on a road trip and she'll have to roll down every window in the car and then she'll be freezing. And then I'll be like, well, I'm dead. Like, you've changed the climate of the whole car many times and now I'm dead.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not sure. I think my mother at some point probably was given some kind of like herbal something to help with the side effects of menopause. Um, she didn't ever have like nothing was offered to her like medication, I don't think, or um, like hormone therapy or anything. That wasn't really a thing when she was probably starting menopause. Um, and I know my mother had to have like a full hysterectomy, or was it a full or a partial? Um, and at the time when she had to have her hysterectomy, my mother and I are close, so she overshares all the time. She overshares much more than I do. Um, but they had to give her these like it was like an injectable thing that would just like help moisten everything internally before the procedure. Um, I'm not sure what that consisted of, but it was probably just like hand lotion.
Well, first, so that means if she has, so my mom, I'm looking at my mom is what, 76, 77. And she had a hysterectomy as well. So to put her in menopause early.
Mm.
So yeah, she's going to, and at the time, even bioidenticals weren't really something people discussed. I had to talk to mommy about it. I said, mommy, why don't you get onto bioidenticals? The thing about a lot of bioidenticals, if you're really past all your hormones, it's very difficult to reverse. So if you really want to start, if you're thinking about that, start checking your hormones from 35 and start early before, it just, you totally are not producing. But I think but still with my mom went from, vaginally, she went from sandpaper to butter using the CO2 lift V.
That's
which my
awesome.
daughter was very happy about. And she was too, because, it was just, she said sex was just painful for her after
Yeah.
that time. And that's the case with many women. So this is something that can definitely help.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of I basically I work with a lot of this is my side job. My day job is like I work customer service and I work with a lot of elderly people. And I hear things like you never knew, like until you talk to a bunch of older people, you never understood like all of the things that happen and the things that are quite common, not just like, freak medical issues, but just like things that are extremely common. And of course, the sexual things are never talked about.
Yeah.
The idea that like having sex when you're older is actually really uncomfortable sometimes if you're not, if you don't have something to make it better. Um, so I actually don't even know like if my parents, like my father's passed away, but my mother and my stepfather, they seem to like each other a lot still, and I have no idea if they still have sex. Like I don't know when they would do it. What I don't even understand.
You should, that ask her. I mean, I guess I overshare with my boys. I mean, our family. I mean, we talk about sex is a very natural part of life. So
Yeah.
we're not shy from the time that we're very young. We're very open in terms of that kind of conversation because they're going to hear it from their friends. But I think that, and so my kids know from ever since when my door is closed, what, your father and I are playing. That's how we stay together. That's our playtime.
Yeah.
And so they're grown now. They're 23 and 21. So they understand full well what's happening. But I had the conversation with my mother when we started this because I said, Mom, tell me, I want to hear about how this is for you.
Yeah.
That's when I heard it. Unless I asked her, how would I know? And so a lot of younger people don't necessarily know what's coming for them because no one discusses it unless you ask them,
Yeah.
and that's when I found out about how she's feeling in that respect.
Yeah. And I feel like so many people are just waiting for someone to start that conversation because they wouldn't bring it up. My mom's the same way. My mom could have like a need, and the other thing is she doesn't ever want to go to the doctor because I think she's just gone to so many doctors. Um, but yeah, she'll just like kind of suffer in silence, and it's like there's really no reason to suffer when it's 2024. There's all these things you can do.
Exactly.
Where can people find your products? I know you said that a lot of dermatologists have it, but you could buy it directly, right, online?
So we have there are two versions. You can get it from your skincare professional. You can ask them. They have the CO2 Lift Pro, and then we have another version that we sell through our website, which is not as concentrated, still effective, still same mechanism of action, and then you can get it. And we're offering your listeners, Drew, discount.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, so Drew, we're going to say Drew is actually Drew 10 for
Drew 10.
10% discount on anything on the site for them to try it. And we're going to send for you to try it too, Drew, because I think it's important for you to see how you like it and how it can work. And it can be applied anywhere on the body. I know you said you wanted it for the face, so that's fine. But they can find us so they would go to co2lift.com. That's our e-commerce site. And on the checkout, they would put in Drew 10
Drew 10.
for 10% off. And they can also check us out on our Instagram page at CO2Lift and at CO2LiftV. My personal Instagram is the Lana Kerr. And, I'm very good at responding to DMs. If they have any questions on anything into this topic or what we talked about, I'd be glad to help.
Amazing. I feel like you just have to like go into places when you're selling this product and people just look at your face and they're just like, okay, we'll buy it. Like you have the most beautiful skin. You probably
Thank
hear that all the time.
you.
I
Thank you.
I could not have guessed your age. Like I have no idea how old you are until you told me.
I've had dermatologists in particular who open accounts. They've known me for 7 years, and they're like, Lana, your skin looks so much better now than when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And it's due to the CO2 lift. It really has. It's one of those things that is a phenomenal way to keep yourself looking youthful, or even if you didn't start early, to reverse it.
Yeah. I need it. I need it in my life. I need to get my eyebrows waxed, and I also need to use some CO2 lift on this face.
Oh my gosh, Drew, you're funny.
Is there anything else you want our listeners to know that we haven't talked about?
I think you covered everything so well, and this was so great talking with you. I think the message I want to like leave is always that, um, skin is important. Obviously how you look, that's how you present to the world, and I think it's important that we take care of it. But our intimate skin, that we're people are not really seeing, like generally the public, right? Not really. That is also important, not only just appearance but functionality, because it affects our confidence, it affects how we feel. And so I definitely encourage, for those of your listeners who have not looked into it, look into it for yourself. It matters.
Yeah. I love that. I love it so much. My closing thing is always fill your holes with whatever makes you happy, and literally you're doing it. You're filling our holes.
Oh my God. Yes, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Lana. And I mean, we got it all done in like 30 minutes, but like sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
It's a quickie.
Yeah, a quickie. My husband loves those. Yeah.
They're really good. Yeah, in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you so much again. And I can't wait to share everything we've talked about with my listeners.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Drew.
Thank you all so much for listening. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to email us at makesexwithmepodcast@gmail.com, we would love that. And I hope you guys are enjoying Thanksgiving if you're into that. And as I said before, I hope you're filling your holes with CO2 Lift and CO2 Lift V. Bye!